Coronation Street's Stu Carpenter is starting to become a more regular face on the ITV soap, but during Monday night's double bill, a hint could have been dropped about why he has really come to Weatherfield. Stu, played by Bill Fellows, has become settled on Coronation Street, having struck up a bond with Yasmin Nasir, Shelley King, who he is now living with and working for. The newcomer also has a friend in Kelly Nealon, Millie Gibson, who brought him to the cobbles and helped to get him off the streets after meeting him whilst she was homeless. However, in the latest episodes of the ITV soap, he made an enemy of villain Tracy Barlow, Kate Ford, as they clashed in The Rover's Return, but as his storyline continues, it could transpire he is the father of her villainous ex-boyfriend, Charlie Stubbs, Bill Ward. The double bill was one that was meant to be celebratory for Stu as he received his first pay packet from Yasmin. After paying her some rent money, he was told to go and treat himself after working so hard over the past couple of weeks. He went out and bought himself a cap, but with some more money to spend, he decided to go to the Rovers and enjoy a drink or two. Wanting to share his good fortune, he offered Jenny Connor, Sally Ann Matthews, and Tracy a drink, but the latter shot him down. She made cruel references to his days on the streets, but Stu bit back as he said to the landlady of the pub, "I thought they stopped making hard faces Harridans back in the 60s. Tracy proceeded to give him the rest of her drink, again making another cutting remark about Stu once being homeless. In the second episode of the evening, he discussed Tracy's rude remarks with Jenny and he made it clear he was not going to be friends with the Cobbles vixen. "You making a Tracy Barlow voodoo doll?" Jenny asked the punter, adding, "I wouldn't blame you, but to be honest, she's not worth wasting your creative energies on." Seemingly intrigued by the outspoken character, Stu commented, "She thinks a lot of herself, that one, doesn't she? I mean, all high and mighty just because her dad bought her some posh grape juice," he continued. Jenny said, "Ignore her, she's just a snob," but Stu believed someone needed to do something about the Cobbles vixen. "Someone needs to bring her down a peg or two," he remarked, with the landlady replying, "Oh, believe me, people have tried and failed." One of these people was her violent ex-lover Charlie, who she ended up killing back in 2007 after she found out he had been abusive to Shelley Unwin, Sally Lindsay. Although she did spend time behind bars for the murder, she was eventually released due to a discrepancy with the evidence. The mother of one has been living on the cobbles ever since and seems to have forgotten about her previous crimes. By the end of the episode, it seemed Stu had made an enemy of Tracy as he proceeded to steal the wine Ken Barlow, William Roach, had delivered for her. Although this might seem jovial to begin with, as Stu does some digging into who the vixen really is, he could get the shock of his life. He could discover she was the woman who killed his son Charlie, who he lost contact with years ago, even before the villain was murdered. Even though they didn't settle their differences whilst Charlie was still alive, Stu could want justice for his son. Therefore, he could begin a vendetta against Tracy as he makes her pay for the misdemeanors of her past. The newcomer hasn't shown any sort of aggression since he arrived on the cobbles last year and seems to be quite friendly. However, many villainous characters have started off their journeys in Weatherfield this way, especially when it is someone who has lost their way. They might not be full-blown villains or killers, but they want some justice for the wrongdoings they have suffered in the past. This would also revisit a moment from Tracy's past she thought was done and buried, and it would throw her back to the forefront of the program. But as Stu's mission steps up a gear, will the vixen face the consequences of her actions, or will she get away with murder again? Executive producer, Ian MacLeod, spoke with Express.co.uk and other media and teased what was ahead for Stu in the coming months. The soap boss said, "Bill Fellows, who plays Stu, is really characterful and funny. We imagined him as being a bit like what Peter Barlow might be if he was in his mid-60s. So he's a little bit rough and ready. He likes carousing and causing trouble and is generally a bit of a firecracker going off in Yasmin's front room. So could causing trouble see him become Tracy's arch-nemesis as she discovers his true identity?